Welcome to the 2025 Challenger Level Free Agency Draft Show. I'm Will Doughton, hanging out with one of the newest members of the SoCal Hard Eights, Blaine Hovenier. Blaine, I know you got drafted yesterday. Talk about how that feels.
No, I mean, thanks for having me, Will. Being drafted by SoCal Hard Eights was honestly just such an honor. Kind of getting drafted from the Premier level after being in Challenger last year, really just testament to hard work. And growing up in SoCal, couldn't be happier than to represent a SoCal team. So let's roll eights.
We've got a full show to get through today. 11 players will be joining the Challenger level. But before we go through with that, let's take a look at some of the other notable moves that happened in the Premier level draft. Most recognizably, Riley Newman going back to the DC Pickleball team. Let's take a look at what Dave Fleming had to say about that move on last night's show.
Love it. Riley Newman has been there before. I want to talk to him about that. And this is a guy that can really play in a lot of different ways and is very good at mixed doubles, can play either side in men's doubles. So love the pick for DC.
Number 4.
Well, Blaine, we know what Dave thinks about the move. What are your thoughts on Riley Newman going back to DC?
No, absolutely. I totally agree with Dave. I think Riley and Deckel is going to be an electric men's team, and then paired up with both of their ladies in mixed, I really think they're one of the teams to beat this year in Premier.
Well, we'll see if that rings true. Let's turn our attention to the Challenger level teams, kind of go into how the draft is going to work. Just like the Premier level draft, it is a dynamic bidding process. So teams bid on picks, not specific players, and that will run until each Challenger roster has four players. That minimum bid to earn your draft spot is 1,000 draft points. So Blaine, I know in the past we've done shuffle drafts for the Challenger level. Is there any difference in perspective going from a dynamic bidding process like this, when teams are actively bidding to try and pick you, versus kind of waiting around for a shuffle draft?
I'd say as a player, I mean, it's more exciting seeing the bidding draft just because there's the excitement of not knowing kind of which team is going to pick. It's all about like, okay, one team needs a female and they're bidding, and then another team needs a male, they're bidding. So it's all exciting until someone actually wins the bid, versus more your traditional kind of picks. You always know who's going to pick you or what team is up next to pick.
And you also get to see, kind of how much they really wanted to pursue you, who was bidding with who potentially. So it's certainly a different perspective for the players. Before we get into today's picks, we're going to take you through who we thought were the best available men and women going into the draft. Blaine, you look at this list, you see a lot of different experiences, right? Players like Lindsay Newman, Michelle Esquivel, a lot of experience, Sarah Ansbury, of course, as well. Then someone like Chloe Igleski, just 18 years old. But Blaine, I'll start with Lindsay Newman. I know you've played a few tournaments with her. You're playing some later this year. What does a player like her bring to the table?
No, I mean, absolutely. Lindsay, brings to the table a lot of veteran experience. She's a competitor. She's very familiar being on the podium on the PPA side, MLP. She's played Premier level. I know she's been on actually SoCal Hard Eights, shout out, with AJ and her brother Riley, of course. But yeah, with Lindsay, you just get someone who's going to make a million balls and someone who's never going to give up, just a true competitor.
And then looking at in that number 3 spot as well, Michelle Esquivel, someone who has similarly a lot of MLP experience, a lot of Challenger experience from last year, filled in for Chicago and California at different points throughout the year. Just take me through kind of Michelle Esquivel, what she could bring to a team.
No, Michelle, she's Mrs. Team Energy. She's a total team player, which is great and huge for the MLP, just team environment, which is super underrated as an attribute as a teammate. Michelle really just pumps up her teammates. I've seen it. And also, she's a really skilled left side player on the women's side. And I think she's just a great attribute to any of these teams in Challenger.
Yeah, I agree with you there on Michelle, Blaine. Obviously you've got that combination of, the skill on the court, but also that energy, those mental intangibles. Someone who's been around the sport for a long time, definitely think there's a lot of value to be had from Michelle Esquivel. And then looking at Ling Wei Kong as well, Blaine, I know you're familiar with her, former professional tennis player out of China. Tell me a little bit about her.
No, I think Ling Wei, she's a little bit more of a sleeper of the best available women in the draft. I'd say Ling Wei, she's a good competitor. She might not be as well known, but she's had some recent success on singles and women's doubles on the PPA Tour. No, she reached round of 16 in, multiple events at PPA Mesa. And yeah, I think Ling Wei is just all around a good teammate to have as someone who's not going to be negative, and you don't want bad energy in MLP, because with MLP and the swings of momentum, it's all about energy. So you really want people who are pumping you up, kind of like a Ling Wei, Michelle, Lindsay, all true veterans who know how to kind of carry that energy.
And it's interesting here, Blaine, you see we have a list of 8 ladies. Only 3 females can be picked in this challenger draft just based off of the current roster construction. So there are going to be a lot of females on this list who do not end up on a roster. Super interesting to kind of see who gets on and who doesn't. But we'll switch over to the best available men. We've got our top 8 here, looking at AJ Kohler. Blaine, I know you played with him at the Masters earlier this year. How was that experience? What does he bring to the table?
No, absolutely. I had a blast playing with AJ at the Masters. I think he's a great player. I think it's a steal that he's still available in the Challenger draft. So keep that in note for all you Challenger GMs. But I think AJ is just a really tricky player. He can play extremely hot. I know sometimes he doesn't always have the best results, but he is one of the best players in my opinion. Really good dude, and can play some really good mixed as well, which is essential for the guys in MLP.
Obviously with MLP, you've got to be good in the gender doubles and the mixed doubles part of it as well. To just make sure you're winning those matches in regulation, not having to go to a dream breaker. Let's look at number 4, Martin Emmerich. Big lefty. I know he played Challenger last year as well. What do you like about his game?
No, Martin, I think lefties in particular in MLP are huge because you've got a lot of women who are great left side players and don't feel as comfortable on the right. So having this kind of lefty partner allows them to show off their best skills on the left and still have your male partner play their side with the forehand in the middle, which is something that Martin provides. And I know he's a former professional tennis player, great hands, one of the nicest dudes on tour, and I'd say he's a really good option for any of these challenger teams looking for a lefty male.
And for Martin specifically, he had a nice run in Mesa playing with Eva Racikovska. They had a big upset win over Pablo Tejas and Eda Tuoyonatoa. So really, someone for recency bias that could be super helpful for him as well. Let's look down there at the bottom of the list are in that 8th spot, Wes Burrows, someone who's been around a while. Blaine, tell me about him.
No, Wes, I think he's in the running for probably the nicest guy in pickleball. I think it's really a close battle between him and Craig Johnson. Shout out to Craig. Congrats on getting drafted yesterday. But I'd say Wes, he's a great left side player, knows how to play the right side as well. All around, just a good teammate. He's had some recent success. He can win mixed doubles matches, play with Jeannie Bouchard. I know he's done well with Jeannie. And Wes also has played with Sam Querrey, where they've also had some success as well. I think Wes, honestly, is a very good player for any of these teams in the sense he's going to have good team chemistry and can really just get hot and win matches for your team.
And a really interesting dynamic here with these men. We talked about only 3 females are able to get drafted. That means 8 males. So we could have, every single challenger team, there are 6 challenger teams. They all need at least 1 male. Some of them need 2. So we could see everybody on this list get drafted. We could see nobody on this list get drafted, but we will have some folks not on this list get drafted. So I think just the parity, especially in the men's game, it's really hard to tell who is going to get drafted, especially to Challenger when, you're really looking to work your way up to Premier in the next couple seasons as well. But we've gone through our best available men and women. We'll take you pick by pick next through the entire draft. That's coming up. We've got all 11 picks in from today's draft, and we're going to start off with the Bay Area Breakers. With the first selection, they take Eric Roddy for 9,000 draft points. Blaine, talk to me about Mr. Eric Roddy.
No, I love this pick, Eric Roddy. He's going to be a great attribute to the Bay Area Breakers. I think he can play either side, depending which side he ends up on, but he's a great mixed player. Dream Breaker, as you know, he's an incredible singles player, had a great run out in PPA Las Vegas last year. And yeah, I really just like the pick for Roddy. And kind of looking at our list we had earlier for top 8, kind of making us look like geniuses so far.
We had him at number 6. He goes number 1. I wouldn't go that far. But I think, you talked about energy. We talked about this with Michelle Esquivel as well. I think Roddy just has this infectious energy. You see it when he plays with Jack Sock. I think that's going to be a huge attribute in MLP as well, especially for Bay Area. So I certainly agree with you, Blaine. I do like the pick for Eric Roddy. Moving up to Nashville, the complete other side of the country. The Nashville Pandas, new rebrand, by the way. They take Anderson Scarpa.
No, I think Scarpa is an amazing pick. I think he really is one of the best mixed players in Challenger. I think he's going to be able to really contribute to the Pandas, and He can play a great left side on men's, and he's overall just a great dude. He's like MLP kind of, I know I'm just harboring on the same topic, but having good team chemistry is so essential for a team event like MLP.
And Blaine, why do you think that is? Why do you talk about, Zane Navratil as well in the New Jersey Fives? He talks about just the importance of needing, that energy, just being a good teammate. Why do you think it's so important for success, for sustained team success throughout the season?
No, for sustained team success, MLP, you have these like big crowds sometimes, and also just big momentum swings. And I'd say not everyone's going to play their best pickleball every single day. So I think it's super essential for MLP to have good teammates that make you play better. And if you're having a bad day, they can lift you up. And I know guys like Eric Roddy and Anderson Scarpa are absolutely capable of doing that, either lifting up their own teammates or getting lifted up from that good environment and good energy from their teammates.
Well, Nashville gets Scarpa for 8,000 draft points, and they go back to back. They also take the third pick. They take Marshall Brown. Talk to me about Marshall.
Ooh, I really like that. That's going to be a scary men's duo right there. I'd say Marshall, another great dude, but Marshall, really good, has a nasty flick, which he can go inside out and really just tricky to read his flick. And I'd say he's also just a great singles player. And Dream Breakers, you're going to want to rely on Marshall. He's going to get you a lot of points, but he's a great pick all around. I like it.
One interesting thing to note here, Anderson and Marshall, I think they've both had the most success with them playing the left in men's doubles. So interested to see if maybe you see Marshall take a step over to the right, or if you see Scarpa playing the right. Honestly, I have not seen Anderson Scarpa play the right a ton, especially recently. How do you think that could shape out?
No, I think that's actually super interesting. I think it's really going to be on any given day who's feeling it. I think also, if I had to pick, Marshall will probably start on the right, but you never know. Like teams in MLP, things happen. You can totally switch and have Marshall play left, Anderson play right. And I think both formats are both ways they can play, they can both be very successful.
Well, certainly an intriguing start to the draft for the Nashville Pandas. We're going to go back out west to Las Vegas. The Night Owls selecting James Delgado with the 4th overall pick, Blaine.
No, I mean, my old previous team, I got a chance to speak to my old head coach, Steve Deacon. Shout out to him. And he told me he's super excited to have James Delgado on the team. He's definitely a little raw, kind of newer to pickleball, and he can train in North Carolina. I know he trains with Kate Fahey, Brooke Buckner, Eric Roddy. So I think he's going to get really good really quickly. And Steve told me he's super excited to have him on the team, and it's a blank canvas really for him to work on and create a great player on probably one of the stronger teams in Challenger.
And we will talk about kind of the strength of some of these teams later on, but I think it's a great opportunity. Steve, like you said, mentioned kind of a blank slate, right? That is one of the benefits of the Challenger level. You've got some players, obviously, with some real talent like James Delgado, maybe just haven't had the experience or necessarily the results on the PPA side yet, but certainly a huge opportunity to get some playing time with some great players. Pablo Tellez, Zoe Wong, Brooke Buckner out in Las Vegas. So an intriguing pick for sure from Las Vegas. Excited to see how that works out. But we just keep on going from east to west, east to west. We're going back to the Sunshine State. Florida Smash with the 5th pick. They pick Sarah Ansbury, Blaine.
No, this is a great pick. This is veteran experience from Sarah Ansbury. I know she goes out to Florida a lot. She's got the opportunity to train with Travis Rettenmeyer, who's on the team, and Martina Frantova. I think Sarah and Martina are going to mesh really well, and I'm super excited to see how they play together.
And Sarah as well, just been around the sport for so long. Look, she has pro medals dating back to 2016, so certainly, she still got it on the court, but I think she adds a ton of value for kind of a player coach as well. Obviously, she'll be playing, but, especially for, Martina as well, just to be able to give advice and kind of get into the mind behind the game. I think it's a great pick for this Travis Rettenmeyer-led squad. And they go back-to-back with the 6th pick. They take Kaysen Campbell.
No, Kaysen Campbell, I'm super excited for this pick. I'd say out of the whole remaining players left in Challenger, I think he had the highest upside. Because all of these players are going to be on these teams for multiple years, most likely. And I think Kaysen, you already know how good he's going to be in Dream Breakers. You can rely on him heavy. Normally that singles prowess shows an indication of good mixed doubles performances or the ability to. So I think it'll be really interesting because I've actually never seen him play on the right side of men's doubles. I would assume he's going to play the right next to Travis, which is a great opportunity for him to learn from a veteran in Travis Rettenmeyer, who has one of the best pickleball IQs that I've known and seen. So I think this is a great spot for Kaysen, and he's a Florida native, so what better place to play for than your home state?
I'm interested to see if they're going to get him a Florida Smash hat, but with the same format that he had with his signature hat. We don't see him wear it too often anymore, but
I think they're just going to dye it green.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Of course. But Kaysen Campbell, I mean, coming off a nice performance in men's doubles in Mesa as well. He and Greg Dow took Ben Johns and Gabe Tardio to 3 games. So Kaysen Campbell playing with some confidence, and again, excited to have him with Rettenmeyer and Sarah Ansbury and Martina Frantova, of course. I think he's going to learn a lot just from being by those players, playing with those players. So a lot to like about these 2 picks from Florida. But look what we have here. The 7th pick, Brooklyn Aces joining the fun. They take Stefan O'Verne. They get the lefty, Blaine.
No, I love this pick because Stefan O'Verne, he's going to be paired up in men's doubles with Danny De La Rosa, who we know loves his left-handed partners. So I think this is going to be a great men's doubles pairing. Stefan, also former professional video game player for all of you who didn't know, but he's just a great dude, really aggressive plays the right, obviously, because he's a lefty, but he can win mixed matches, and I think that's going to be huge for one of the girls in Brooklyn, in Mari Humberg, who's on the Brooklyn Aces, who likes playing the left side. So I think that's going to be a great duo in Stefan and Mari as a partnership, and I really think they're going to go not undefeated, but pretty, I think they're going to be one of the best mixed teams. That's my sneaky prediction.
All right. You heard it from Blaine first. Big fan of Stefan O'Verne and Mari Humberg. But like you said, Blaine, with Stefan, made the playoffs with Frisco last year. They barely snuck in. I think that experience is going to lend him well, serve him well just this season as well on a Brooklyn team that did not make the Challenger playoffs last year. But again, we like the pick. We going into it, we thought it was between O'Verne and Martin Emmerich, who we talked about earlier, but they go and get their lefty. Certainly a good tactical play there in terms of building up their team for the future. But now we're going back out west. The 8th pick, California Black Bears. They select Stephen Madonia, former tennis player at University of Florida and Miami, a Florida boy playing in California, Blaine.
No, yeah, I mean, that's kind of that's not how they normally go. California and Florida, I don't think they really get along that well, the 2 sunshine states. But I like this pick. Steven, he's a great tennis player. You know he's going to be a good singles player. And he's a little bit rawer in doubles, but I think he's going to be on the left next to Rafa Hewitt. I think that's going to be a great drive and crash team in men's doubles. So I'm super excited to see Steven play.
And they'll be playing alongside Lane Sleeth and Lina Padiga-Maite as well. That's going to be a fun team to watch. We'll see if Jimmy Miller can make some magic happen leading the Black Bears this season. We're going to go back over to Nashville for the 9th pick. Pandas select Michelle Esquivel. They round out their roster. We talked about her experience earlier, but how do you think she fits into this team?
No, I think this is going to be a phenomenal team. I really like Michelle Esquivel playing next to Eva Radikowska. I think this is going to be a super good team. I think it's also going to be interesting because both of these ladies, I think, have had more success playing on the left in women's doubles. So it'll be interesting to see which one of them goes and steps over to that right side. And also paired with Marshall Brown and Anderson Scarpa. I think all around, that is a great team.
And also, I got to say as well, Michelle Esquivel, awesome commentator. Love commentating with her when we have a chance to. So, Michelle, congratulations. You're a great commentator as well. We're going to go back to Bay Area for the 10th and 11th picks. They start off with pick 10, taking Wyatt Stone, going to play alongside Eric Roddy. How do you like this pick, Blaine?
This is a great pick. I mean, Wyatt Stone plays a lot of doubles with Brandon French. I mean, Wyatt can play both sides, which is going to be great next to Eric Roddy. I know Roddy's super comfortable playing the right with Jack Sock, and Wyatt's comfortable playing the left with Brandon French. But this is going to allow them to mix it up and just kind of see who goes where on what side, and I think it's going to be a great duo.
And Wyatt Stone, still very young, just 19 years old, but he does have some experience, actually filled in for the Chicago Slice in the finals of the Challenger level playoffs last season. So he's got those pressure-filled reps, which I think only helps you in Major League Pickleball as well. Excited to see how he plays with Roddy, like you said, Blaine. And then finishing out the draft with the 11th pick, Bay Area again, they get Ling Wei Kong, who we talked about earlier, Blaine. How do you think she fits into this team?
I'm super excited for Ling Wei. I know she's new to MLP. This is going to be her first opportunity, so I'm excited to see how she does. She's a SoCal resident, trains in Irvine, California, and Bay Area Breakers. I know that's a little Northern California, but you're still staying in the state of Cali, which I think is huge for her. And I'm super excited to see what she does with Bay Area.
Former Wichita State Shocker tennis player. We talked about her professional tennis background, representing China as well. So great opportunity for her. Like you said, we love to see that first-time players in MLP getting that shot to break through, just like you did last year, Blaine. Can you just talk about how much it benefits your game to get those extra reps, not just on the PPA tour?
No, the extra reps are huge. I think the high-pressure situations of MLP are almost higher stake than PPA because not everyone has the opportunity to play for a quarterfinal or a semifinal on the PPA side. But now on the MLP side, you have that similar environment and crowd and energy to replicate those reps. So if you get to those scenarios on the PPA side, you really already know what a crowd who's cheering for you or booing against you does, and then it allows you just to be an overall better player.
And I know Dave Fleming says this a lot, but you're playing not just for yourself, you're playing for the team on the front of your jersey and the name and the owners, the teams on surrounding you as well. So huge opportunity here for Lingwei Kong. We've gone through all 11 picks from today's draft. Now we're going to go through the 6 teams, break down each roster, give our predictions for who we think the strongest teams will be, starting off with the Bay Area Breakers. Of course, they had Elise Jones coming into the day. They go out and get Eric Roddy, Wyatt Stone, and Lingwei Kong. How do you see this team faring at the challenger level this year?
I think this will be a good team. It'll be interesting because Elise Jones, only one with full-time MLP experience. I know Wyatt has had a couple substitute opportunities where he has done well, but this is the first MLP opportunity for both Lingwei and Eric Roddy. So it's going to be super exciting to see how they all mesh together under the pressure format of MLP.
Yeah.
But I think Elise's veteran experience will help them go and do well.
Like you said, Elise Jones, such a veteran, knows how to win, has been crushing it on the PPA tour as well, and she can probably have her on the right side with Lingwei, but she can really do it all. I think she's really going to be the anchor of this team with a lot of upside around her. I think it's a huge opportunity for Bay Area. But let's go back up north. The Brooklyn Aces, coming into this, they had Andrea Koop, Mari Humberg, Daniel De La Rosa. They go out and get the lefty, Stefan O'Verne. Blaine, I think we've talked about, we thought this was a very strong roster coming in. Do you still think they're one of the top rosters in Challenger?
Absolutely. I think they are one of the top rosters. I know Mari Humberg has great premier experience playing with the New Jersey Fives last year. Did a great job. Andrea Koop, premier experience, played for the Carolina Pickleball Club last year. And then Daniel De La Rosa, he's an MLP veteran, played on the Brooklyn Aces last year, along with Stefan O'Verne. I think this is going to be a really good team and somewhere a sneaky dark horse in the Challenger League.
And I think also, with Daniel, we know he likes to play with lefties, like you've said. Playing with a different lefty, plays a lot of PPAs with Martin Emmerich, so it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of get used to each other because there are some, favorable patterns when you're playing lefty-righty combination, but when you aren't really dialed in with your partner, when you haven't been getting those reps as frequently, there can be some challenges. So interested to see how Daniel and Stefan play together, especially in the early parts of the season. But let's go back out to California. Looking at the California Black Bears roster, of course, today we've got Lina Padiga-Maite, Lane Sleeth, Rafa Hewitt, and Steven Madonia. Steven kind of the wild card here, Blaine.
No, definitely. Steven's the wild card. I think this team, it'll be interesting to see what they do for the mixed doubles pairings. Because I know Rafa Hewitt on the PPA side has played with both Lina and Lane Sleeth. So I'm really curious if they kind of have more of your veteran team and Lina and Rafa playing together, and then have the young guns of Lane Sleeth and Steven Madonia, or do you mix it up and have a veteran and Lina play with Steven and then Lane play with Rafa?
And also really excited to see the women's doubles pairing for California. Lina, of course, playing with Lane Sleeth. They played together on Brooklyn last year, did not have a ton of success, but they had a great run at Worlds, I believe beating Vivian David and Lacey Schneeman en route to a round of 16 finish. So certainly a good run for them. They'll be looking to, carry that success from that huge tournament over into the MLP season. Excited to see them both competing together again. But now going to the opposite side of the country, Florida Smash. Let's look at their roster. We talked about it a little earlier. Martina Frantova, Travis Rettenmeyer, Sarah Ansbury, and Kaysen Campbell.
No, this is a great team. This team is built off the backbone of Travis Rettenmeyer, and he just has such a great pickleball IQ. He knows all these players well. He's can practice with Kaysen. They're both Florida. Same with Martina. I think this is a super exciting team. And if Travis puts Kaysen under his wing and kind of shows Kaysen the doubles side, I think Kaysen is going to be a super great doubles player to see in MLP and PPA to come in the next few years.
And we talked about the Dreambreaker upside with Kaysen Campbell. You know, I spoke with Travis at MLP Virginia Beach in 2024 when he had just gotten Donald Young, and after they got Donald Young, they were killing the game when it comes to Dreambreakers. Donald Young, obviously a great singles player. Travis spoke about the importance of Dreambreakers, so not too surprised to see that he went after Kaysen Campbell, another great singles player with a lot of upside in doubles as well. I think that pick really reminds me of Donald Young in terms of what we can expect from them in the future as well. So Florida Smash, high hopes, high expectations. I could certainly see them meeting them as well. And we now have our fifth team to go through, the Las Vegas Night Owls. I mean, look at this roster, Blaine. They've got Brooke Buckner, Zoe Wong, Pablo Tellez, now James Delgado. All three, Brooke Buckner, Pablo Tellez, have premier experience from last year. Now they have Zoe Wong, of course, they keep now with James Delgado. Your former team, Blaine, how far do you think they can go this year?
My prediction is they go all the way. I think this is by far the best team in Challenger. I think I'm super excited to see how James Delgado meshes as the wild card in the blank canvas that Steve Deacon said, along with Pablo. And I would imagine he's going to play next to Brooke Buckner because we know Zoe Wong, she loves playing with her lefties, and her and Pablo have had great success on the PPA tour as well. So I don't think they're going to mess with that. And then Brooke, an amazing mixed doubles player. She can definitely carry Delgado if needed, and I think this is going to be a very scary team, and this is the team to beat in Challenger for sure.
Now the question is, Blaine, do you believe that, or are you saying that because you want to be nice to your old team?
I think it's a little bit of both, but I actually do believe it as well. But I also stay loyal to my team, and shout out to Steve and Chris. I think they have come up with a phenomenal team here.
Well, the thing is, I agree with you. I think Las Vegas, just an excellent roster for the reasons you pointed out. I think Pablo Tellez, Brooke Buckner, Zoe Wong, I could totally see them on premier level rosters, especially now with 6 players on those rosters. So I think to have them in Challenger is a huge advantage for Las Vegas as an organization. Expect them to have a great year this year as well. Now, rounding out our rosters, we've got the Nashville Pandas, new rebrand, no longer in Frisco. They go up to Tennessee, and they have a fun roster. We've got Eva Rajikowska, Michelle Esquivel, who they got today, Anderson Scarpa, and Marshall Brown. Take me through your thoughts on this roster.
I mean, right here you've got 4 left side players. So that's going to be super interesting to see how this all meshes together. I think this can either be a blunder or this is going to be one of the best teams out there, and it's going to be super exciting to see.
And we saw Nashville go back-to-back on picks 2 and 3 in the draft, so it sounds like they really knew who they wanted, had a plan. It looks like they executed it. We'll see if it pays off for them. But that is going to do it for our kind of draft analysis of the show. It was an awesome draft. We've got some exciting teams. Let's take a look at some upcoming events. The 2025 MLP season starts in Orlando at the USTA National Campus, April 24th through 27th. But the thing is, Blaine, only the premier teams are playing in that event, so that is just going to be a lot of fun. All 16 premier teams in action. The challenger teams, these 6 challenger teams, will not be in action until late May in Austin. MLP Austin taking place May 23rd through 26th at the Austin Pickle Ranch. You're going to have all 6 challenger teams battling it out for supremacy early in the season. Cannot wait for that event.
Oh yeah, I think that's going to be super exciting. And also, the interesting thing, because there's only 6 teams in Challenger, all the MLP Challenger events, they're going to be pretty much playing the same teams over and over and over. So it's going to be interesting to see how, from the beginning of the season till the end of the season, how the strategies against playing certain teams are going to change. Because you're going to see teams who beat, I don't know, a certain team beginning of the year, and then they're going to start losing to them, or vice versa. It's all going to come down to strategy when you play these teams so often, and that's really going to be exciting to see.
And of course, all 6 teams making the playoffs, so it's like, hey, even if you lose against the team the first 3 times you played them in July and in June, if you play them in the playoffs and you come up with a winning strategy, those first 3 losses don't really mean anything. So, it's fine. I think it's going to be really interesting, like you said, to kind of see that development of strategy from week to week, from event to event. But there is so much to look forward to for the 2025 Major League Pickleball season. Thanks so much for joining us looking at the drafts. We will see you when the season starts in Orlando. For Blaine Hovenier, I'm Will Doughton. Thanks for joining us.